Welcome back to the Solitude, Community, and Hope Book channel. In this series, we introduce individuals from the Metro West community who inspire connection and engagement. Today, I'm excited to welcome Eva Benda, Marketing Director for Solitude, Community, Hope, and Anthology. It's been wonderful working alongside Eva on this project, and I'm very excited to learn more about the ways she fosters meaning and connection in the community. Eva, thank you for joining us. How long have you been at First Parish in Framingham?
Oh, I think I joined First Parish in the mid-70s, so it has been a long time.
Wow, I'm pretty new there, but that is a while. Can you tell us about the volunteer activities you've been involved with in the community?
Sure. Well, let's start with being marketing director for this wonderful anthology. So that's one of my current 5 projects. And I am also on the board or on the committee for Caritas, which is the First Parish caring community where we care for others within our First Parish. And then the 3 programs that I do that benefit the community at large would be the Learn English for Adult program, where we teach English to folks from the community, mostly at this point the Latinos and Brazilians. And another project that I have, which is in a sense related, is teaching English as a second language to refugees who've been placed in a hotel in Westboro through the refugee program in the United States. And the third activity I'm involved in, or the 5th actually, when you add the 2 from First Parish, the 5th activity is the Diaper Project. And that is started First Parish. We partnered with A Place to Turn, which is a food pantry in Natick, and that's the distribution site for diapers for financially stressed families.
Oh, I see. That's a lot. You do a lot in the community, Eva. That's impressive.
It's fun.
I remember first actually speaking with you during COVID. You called me during COVID and while you were working at the church for the Caritas. So
right.
Thank you for that. But we hadn't met in person until
That's right.
most recently.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with the English as a second language program?
Well, I was at the time, I think this was probably about 14, 15 years ago, I was the vision coordinator for the Metro West Free Medical Program based at First Parish. Okay. And I would see all these people sitting there in our waiting room who didn't speak any English or had very limited English ability. And I always thought, gee, here we have this building at First Parish. Why not offer ESL classes? We have a ready-made population. I was sure they could come. And I felt that we could provide a need that maybe other ESL programs in the community couldn't. So that was how I got involved with that program. Yes. The one at the hotel I got involved with because a neighbor who was walking her dog and said, gee, Eva, I know you're involved with ESL. We have all these refugees at this hotel in Westboro. They need English. Would you be interested in being involved with that? And she originally was thinking about me having teaching in the program, yes. But it turned out that it was more organizing a program and implementing that. So, so the danger of walking a dog and meeting somebody.
Well, you're definitely good at organizing, especially even with the marketing of the book. I've noticed. So what have you learned from your experiences, your volunteer experiences? Oh. What are some of your main?
What have I learned personally?
Yes.
Or yeah. So
personally, yeah.
Okay.
Or any way you want to say.
Okay. Well, I think what I've learned. Well, first of all, let me go back and say that I've always volunteered all my life. Volunteering has just been part of who I am. So, I mean, this is nothing new to me. And I just find that volunteering is, for me on a personal level, very extremely rewarding. I just feel that I give 100% and I get back 150%. So I think that that is what I've learned more than anything else. I've learned a lot about people. I've learned about people from with each program that I've been involved in. So with the refugees, I've learned so much about other cultures and societies that I will never visit, because
Right.
most of these refugees are from Syria, Afghanistan, and African countries like Sudan. Um, so I've learned so much about their way of approaching life.
Right.
And I've always said I could gain 10 pounds in 1 week if I took all the food that was offered to me as I visit everyone, because they just are so hospitable,
Oh,
so that's great. And with the LEAP program, I've just learned again about how people there we have mostly Brazilian and Latinos. So I've learned so much about their culture and how they approach things and why they're here and why they are not back in their native country.
that's
Yeah,
interesting. Maybe that wasn't expected that you would learn so much from people. Yeah, so that's fantastic.
yeah.
So would you describe your volunteer activities as more solitary or collaborative?
Oh, well, I think it depends. Most of them are collaborative. So, for example, I work with 12 to 13 teachers in the hotel, and we work together. And without them, there would be no program, because
Right.
I'm not actually teaching in the program. It's a team effort. In the LEAP program, it's again a team effort. There's 5 of us teaching. I teach 2 classes a week, but we work together. The Diaper Project is interesting because I don't really have a committee as such, but it's collaborative in the sense that I'm collaborating with a place to turn. Without a place to turn,
Sure.
we wouldn't be distributing the diapers. And of course, we're
understand.
collaborating with all the organizations that participate in hosting diaper drives. So, yes.
Sure.
And again, Caritas is collaborative
Yeah.
because it's a team, 6 of us work on the
Right,
caring
yeah.
committee.
It's very important.
And the
yeah.
book, again, collaborative. I
Yeah.
mean, you are an integral part of
Thank-
this marketing team.
thank you.
Without you, I mean, you do so much,
Thank
including
you.
these wonderful YouTube programs.
It's been a good experience and a learning experience for
Yeah.
me, but I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the creativity of it and the learning.
Yeah.
So it was a good opportunity. It's something I would not have done on my own. So
Right.
that's the learning that I received.
Right.
And again, whenever I volunteered, I found it very rewarding too, because you're going outside of yourself.
Exactly.
And especially if people are feeling lonely and in solitary, and they want to go out and they want to feel better, if they can get themselves to volunteer somewhere where they feel like they enjoy it somewhat and they can give back, I think it is helpful. So I've always found that too. So
yeah, absolutely.
How do you think volunteering helps address loneliness or isolation for yourself or for others?
Oh gosh, I think it's absolutely a fabulous way to address that. You can't be lonely when you're volunteering because you're interacting with all these other people.
Right.
So it just absolutely negates that whole concept of loneliness. You're really part of the community, and you're engaged and active. And I think what's most important is you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about others. And the minute you start thinking about others, hey, that's it. You're connected and you're not lonely.
That's right. Well, when I sing in the choir, I'm thinking about the notes and the music and how to blend in. So, I mean, even though I'm thinking about my role in the choir, it's the same thing. So, yeah, okay. For someone unsure, it's Eve. So, if someone unsure how to get started with volunteering, what advice would you give to them?
I think it's important to know what you love to do. Right. So you find your passion, and then you find organizations where you can use that passion, where you can benefit others with your passion. So, for example, if you're really passionate about making sure that people have enough food, go to food pantry,
Right.
volunteer there. If you're really passionate about art, volunteer at a museum. I mean, we have museums within our community right
That's
here,
right.
you know,
That's right.
in the Framingham area. You don't have to go into Boston or Worcester to work in a museum. Whatever you're passionate about is a wonderful way to decide what area you're going to volunteer in, and then find organizations that that basically you're able to self-actualize
That's right.
and use that passion. The flip side to it is, for example, I had I have a volunteer in the hotel. Now, she wanted to volunteer to teach adults English. Obviously, that's what we do. But she's an eighth grade teacher, and the one thing she said to me when I said, you know, we also have kids who need to learn English, she said, I don't want to do kids. I'm already teaching eighth graders. I want to teach the adults. So her thing is teaching, but she wanted to use it in a different way than she does on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. And I imagine it takes maybe a few tries, at least for some people, to figure out if they don't know what their passions are. But like for me, I love music, and I didn't realize I would love to sing in a choir though also.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking of trying to go back to my violin, and so
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, and that's the other thing. There's your passion, but then there's what can I do that's outside my comfort zone?
That's right.
And volunteering is a great way to experiment with doing something outside your comfort zone, as opposed to trying to get a job outside your comfort zone.
Right.
Because there isn't that kind of commitment. If it doesn't work for you, well, you can walk away.
That's right. And the pressure is off. Right?
The pressure is completely off. Absolutely.
So, in your view, Eve, where are volunteers needed most in the Metro West community?
You know, I think volunteers are probably needed most in areas like the food pantries, where there's a need for direct services. I haven't taken any kind of a survey, you know, to address that. But it seems to me that, for example, the Framingham literacy program at the library is always looking for volunteers to teach ESL. There's such a need for that. So if people want to do something like that, that's fine. They don't have to be intimidated because they offer training. So if you don't have any background in teaching, no problem. They will train you. You know, so that comes to mind right away. As a way. But again, I think there's probably a need everywhere, and people can just get onto Facebook, because Facebook has different organizations looking for volunteers, and
it's true.
They can check that out.
That's true. Yeah. There's a lot of places to look.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there's also like a volunteer match online where so I remember looking at that some time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So outside of volunteering, Eve, what other activities or hobbies bring you joy?
Okay. What brings me joy? So I always look at doing things that benefit my body and my mind.
Yeah.
And my spirit, I guess. So for my body, what brings me joy is being part of the Southborough Trailblazers, so hiking and walking with that group. I love traveling. I've gotten back to that now that we're post-pandemic. So I'm looking forward to my trip to Norway, and I love exploring New England. And I've done a lot of that, I'm basically acting like a tourist in New England. Although I've lived here since I was 16 years old. So, I love doing Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga. You know, so that takes care of my body, brings me great joy in doing all those things. For my mind, I love constantly learning. So I love going to art museums. I love getting on YouTube programs where I'm learning things about technology, AI, and so forth. I really love that. So I do, and reading, of course. So those are the things I do. That socially, I like going out to restaurants with people. I love to entertain as well. So having people in my home and going out with people.
So you're learning more about people as you're entertaining as well.
Absolutely.
And the body and mind, of course, are connected. And so, yes, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to share about your experiences or the importance of community involvement?
Just that if you're on the fence about being involved in the community, get off that fence and do it. The first step is doing it.
Right.
You know, is just saying, yes, I can do this.
Sure.
And why not? Because there's really very little risk in doing that.
Taking the first step.
Taking that first step is where it's at. If you don't take that first step, forget it. You know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Eve, thank you for sharing your insights and experiences with me today. Your dedication and connection perfectly embodies the themes of solitude, community, and hope. For our viewers, this book was inspired by U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy's report on the epidemic of loneliness in America. It's a collection of poetry, prose, and images exploring loneliness, intentional solitude, and the power of community. Published by Damianos Publishing in Framingham, Massachusetts, this book is available at Silver Street Media for $20. Proceeds support First Parish programs and initiatives to combat isolation. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for weekly interviews with more inspiring individuals from our community. Thank you, Eva. Take care and be well. With gratitude.